Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right, to which Mr. Strzok said, quote, no, he won't. We will stop it. That's the Peter Strzok and Lisa Page I'm talking about.
Are you in the settlement negotiations with Peter Strzok and Lisa Page?
I don't know what's public in that respect or not.
I'm reading from the story. Someone gave it to him. I assume it was you guys. Justice Department has agreed to a long-running litigation stemming from a decision in 2017.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about cases in recent FBI history, the settlements involving former FBI employees Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. You might remember these names from the headlines a few years ago, but there's a lot more to the story, so let's break down what happened. Peter Strzok, once a top counterintelligence agent at the FBI, and Lisa Page, an FBI lawyer, both found themselves at the center of a legal battle. Strzok settled his lawsuit for a whopping $1.2 million, while Page received $800,000. But why were these settlements made? Well, it all goes back to some private text messages between the two that were leaked, causing a media storm. In these texts, they referred to Donald Trump in less than flattering terms, calling him an idiot and even a loathsome human. These messages led to accusations of political bias within the FBI, and soon enough, Strzok and Page were out of their jobs. Strzok was fired, and Page resigned. After that, they sued the Department of Justice, claiming the leak was part of an effort to push a false narrative. So, who approved these settlements? According to recent reports, the Department of Justice was the one handling the lawsuits, not the FBI directly. But that hasn't stopped questions from being raised about whether the FBI had any say in the matter. During a Senate hearing, Senator Kennedy grilled FBI Deputy Director Abate about this, demanding to know if anyone at the FBI signed off on the settlements. Abate made it clear that, to his knowledge, neither he nor FBI Director Chris Wray had anything to do with approving the payouts. But the senator wants more information, and it looks like we'll be getting those answers soon.
I don't want to get off the subject here. Did the FBI just settle two lawsuits, one wholly, one in part, in which the FBI agreed to give Peter Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Lisa Page $800,000?
It's my understanding, Senator, that the Department of Justice was involved in that, not the FBI.
The FBI had nothing to do with it?
There may have been consultation with our general counsel's office, but
Does the FBI have to sign off on it?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't believe so, but I would want to confirm that.
I would like you to, this would be the same Lisa Page who said to Mr. Strzok, quote, Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right, to which Mr. Strzok said, quote, no, he won't. We will stop it. That's the Peter Strzok and Lisa Page I'm talking about. I need to know if the FBI signed off on this lawsuit.
We will get that answer for you, Senator.
And then I need to know who signed off on it. Did you sign off on it?
I absolutely did not and would never sign off on something
Did Chris
like that.
Wray sign off on it, the settlement?
I don't believe he did.
Okay. Did you don't know what?
Nor do I think he would have.
You need to let me know who signed off on this, if anyone at the FBI. So it was Merrick Garland who agreed to do this, is that right?
Senator, I do not know.
Well, hell,
who
somebody
signed
had
off
to
on that.
agree to it. I've settled a lawsuit before. The client's got to agree to it. You're the client. All
Understood.
right.
I'm going to direct in to the Department of Justice to answer
All right.
those questions.
Get me that information if you would.
News story last week in Politico, first paragraph. The Justice Department has agreed to settle long-running litigation stemming from a decision in 2017 to release to the media text messages between two former FBI employees involved in the probe of Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Are Peter Strzok and Lisa Page going to get a windfall of American tax dollars soon here, Mr. Attorney General?
I'm sorry, I either didn't hear or didn't understand the question.
Are Peter Strzok and Lisa Page going to get a windfall of American tax dollars?
I'm sorry.
Are you in the settlement negotiations with Peter Strzok and Lisa Page?
I don't know what's public in that respect or not.
I'm reading from the story. Someone gave it to him. I assume it was you guys. Justice Department has agreed to a long-running litigation stemming from a decision in 2017.
I don't know whether discussions are public or not. In every case, when people bring cases against the United States, we attempt to settle the
Simple
cases.
question. Are Lisa Page and Peter Strzok going to get money from the American taxpayer?
when that determination is made about whether settlement is made in that case, it will be announced.
You're back.
Trump campaign.
So,
Mr. Durham, let's get into this. The FBI opened up Crossfire Hurricane without speaking to the people who provided the initial information. Is that true?
That's correct.
The FBI opened Crossfire Hurricane on a Sunday, only 3 days after reviewing that information. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So just think about that for a moment. An investigation, a full investigation into a presidential campaign over a weekend. Mr. Durham, the FBI opened Crossfire Hurricane without interviewing any of the essential witnesses. Is that true?
That's true.
And the FBI also opened up Crossfire Hurricane without using any of the standard analytical tools typically employed to evaluate that evidence. Is that true?
That's true.
So think about that. The FBI never talked to the people who gave them the intelligence information. They never examined their own witnesses. They never interviewed the witnesses. They never corroborated the dossier. Mr. Durham, if the FBI had done these things, if they had done their homework, would it have found that its own Russian experts had no information about President Trump being involved with Russian leadership or Russian intelligence officials?
Yes.
So then, was there adequate predication for the FBI to open Crossfire Hurricane as a full investigation?
On July 31st, in my view, based on our investigation, there was not a legitimate basis to open as a full investigation. An assessment is something that had to be looked at, gather information, such as interviewing the people who provided the Papadopoulos information, checking their own databases, the databases of other intelligence agencies, and the standard kinds of things that you would do in an investigation like this.
Mr. Durham, I think it's safe to conclude, based on that report and anyone who has read it, that they did not have that adequate basis, as you talked about, to launch this investigation. Let's move on to a second really troubling aspect of your findings. From the report, I gathered that key FBI leaders, all the way at the top, were predisposed to go after candidate Trump. This bias likely affected the conduct of FBI personnel in this investigation. Is that true?
Yes.
Can you describe that for a moment? How did confirmation bias play into this?
Confirmation bias, as was alluded to, has to do with our human tendency to accept things that we already think are true and to reject anything else. In this instance, there are any number of significant red flags that were raised that were simply ignored. If there's evidence that was inconsistent with the narrative, they didn't pay attention to it. They didn't explore it. They didn't take the logical investigative steps that should have been taken.
So, that's the latest on the Strzok and Page settlements. With $2 million between them and plenty of unanswered questions still floating around, this story is far from over. We'll be keeping an eye on how the FBI and the Department of Justice respond to calls for more transparency and whether we get any new information on what really went down behind the scenes. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment with your thoughts on the whole situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.